Are you ready to break free from the doubts and limits holding you back? Welcome to Embrace Your Value, where therapy meets coaching to help you unlock your true worth and take control of your life.
Hi, I'm Kristen, a trauma therapist dedicated to helping you heal, break old patterns, and reclaim your power.
And I'm Jen, your support coach, here to show you how to set fierce boundaries, embrace self-compassion, and step boldly into the life you deserve.
So, whether you're stuck in self doubt or feeling lost, know this: your value isn't up for negotiation. It's time to own it.
Every week, we tackle real issues that challenge, inspire, and empower you to live with purpose and confidence.
So, grab your favorite drink, take a deep breath, and let's get started.
Because you're not here to play small. It's time to embrace your value.
Hi, welcome back. We decided to do a little bit of an extension on building self-worth because I personally didn't feel like we got into enough of it. And I do think it's a really important thing. I think Jen agrees. So, welcome back. And we just want to keep going with this.
Absolutely. So, what we want to talk today about is building more self worth, like how you build more. So, we kind of started on that towards the end of the last one. And I will say, I will always try to keep these at about 30 minutes or less. Unless we have guests, then I might make it a two-parter on our own. But yeah, so let's talk more about building self worth and what that looks like and how we can do that. So, I talked a lot about positive affirmations, but Kristen, I would love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite positive affirmations, and how do you help clients so that they can start to believe them?
Yes, I love this question because this is something that I do. I just maybe call it a different thing. So, one of the modalities that I use is EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And the first step in doing that is to create a calm place. And within creating that calm place, we take two things that we want to be true about ourselves. So, the very first two that I start with, just so people don't have to think too hard about it, is I'm calm, I'm safe. Now, the modality allows us to put any two things in there. So, and what they do is when we're doing it in the context of EMDR, which is bilateral stimulation, and I would love more questions about that if anybody wants to shoot me anything, because it's very powerful. Is we do more positive affirmations as we go along. If people need more other than I'm calm, I am safe. So it can be all kinds of things like I can be healthy. I can be be the kind of person that I want to be. And I always try to make it positive. Sometimes people want to be like, well, I'll eat less. And I'm like, okay, well, instead of saying I'll eat less, let's say I'll eat more healthy foods or I'll eat more healthy. Um, so that's how I can do it with clients, and I think it's been very, very powerful to do with them. The things for myself is really it's just me telling myself, like, you can do it. You're enough. You're enough. I mean, if we could all just believe that we're enough, what a different world this would really be. That is probably the number one negative cognition that people have, is that they're not enough or they're not good enough or they're not worthy. So that's kind of how I do it in session, and what I do for myself.
I love that. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. If we could all just walk around saying, I am enough, I am worthy, and believe it and own it and know it, I think we'd have a whole different world, and it would just be incredible and amazing. Yeah, and I love that. Some of the affirmations that I use I try to make them really simple as well. And I try to make them not I have a tendency to make things complicated. And so I try to keep my affirmations really simple. But one of the things I do really like to do is um, take the chakras and make
Mm.
them chakra statements. So more of I am, I believe, I love, I know, um, just going in with the chakras and doing that. And that helps me. I learned that from another coach too. And that really helps me to kind of stay grounded and connected. And those words, I believe, I know, I love, I am, those are powerful words, especially when you believe them and you hear them from yourself. So, yes, I think that's great. I love
But
that.
I love that. I'm going to steal that from you. Is that
No,
okay?
please. Yes.
I actually talk about energy and chakras and it just in my therapy practice because I'm very much in line with that. So I would love to remind people that those types of prompts for these positive affirmations are really powerful and they connect with the body and they connect with being in alignment. And I love that. So I'm going to totally steal that. So, yay. So, okay, I've got a great question and
Okay.
I've got a lot to say about this, but I really want to know what you have to say, which is defining your worth beyond external achievements or other people's opinions.
Yeah. So that was one that I do still struggle with, I will say. I know that for a fact. And it kind of goes along with the story that I told in the last one was, I took all of my negative worth from what people said. And that seems to be more of where yes, I can do things and I can do great things. And even growing up because I felt really inadequate, I could get praised for something and do well on something, but that didn't compare to the things I still couldn't do. And so I tend to take it on the other side of things. So one of the things I've really learned to do, and I'm still learning to do, is to celebrate myself in the small things. So being able to call a friend or tell my husband or my mom, hey, this happened and I'm really excited about it and I want to share it with you. Celebrate with me. And just being able to do that changes how we see things and how we feel about ourselves. So, another way you can do that, and this is something that I actually have encouraged clients to do, and one of my clients took it a little step further, and it's on the same wavelength. Is I encouraged her to take to social media or people she trusted and ask them when they thought about her what they thought of, like what word came to mind for them. So she got a lot of great things back, like confident and independent. And she got a ton of different words back. And what she did was she took her yearly planner and every Sunday she wrote one of the words or what they left about her and who said it. And so every week when she started looking at her planner, she had a positive statement to go from and something to build off of. And I thought that was a beautiful idea because it just showed her how other people see her and that it's not in a negative light. Now, if you have friends that are always negative, I don't recommend asking them that question because
Right.
they're not going to come up with anything positive because they can't do it. You're asking somebody to do something they actually cannot do. But if you have trusted people in your life that are always giving you compliments, that's the other thing. Think about where people compliment you. What do they compliment you on? If they compliment you on your clothes, you have a great sense of style. Own that. Be proud of that. Let that fill you and lift you. And so, find those people and ask them what they think of you. Like, I can tell Kristen, when I think of Kristen, I think of how her face lights up when she smiles and she's passionate. And that is what I think of. Like, I see her face and I see her light up. Now, that also might be because we've not met in person yet. And so, excuse me, that's really all I have to go by is, from here up. But I know how much she cares and how much compassion she has for her clients based on just conversations that we've had. So, who does that for you? And let them fuel you if you can't do it for yourself, because it's a great way to get some extra self compassion in there.
Yeah, that's great. One thing I talk about in session with my clients is internal validation versus external validation. And so being able to say to yourself, this goes along with a few things that you said in the last episode, being able to say to yourself, I am, I see, I value, and telling yourself those things over and over. And what an additional great way to start the week. I love that we have somebody else's, but also, like, what do we believe about ourselves? What do we want to believe about ourselves? And start each week with one of those new things. I mean, 52 sounds like a lot to me, but you know what? We eat the elephant in small bites.
Yeah, so you do a month at a time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. That's a great idea. I'm stealing that idea. Like, I think that's something my clients could use a lot of. I mean, we talk a lot about it anyway, but just, having it written down for them every week. Um, yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Oh, this is a good question. What is something about yourself that you admire that you don't always acknowledge?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if we were going to get into something like this. So, something I admire about myself, and I think people have a lot of trouble saying out loud what they admire about themselves. So, I do try to model that in session. And because one of the practices that I do with people is I'll say, write 5 things that you like about yourself. Just 5. And people get really, really stuck. I mean, really stuck. And so I say, well, what 5 things would you say about me that you like? Oh, and they just rattle off like 7, 10, and it's not that I'm that great. It's just we're so much more generous with other people and how we feel positively about them than we are with ourselves. I think you said something like this before. So something I admire about myself that I don't always acknowledge is my ability to persevere. Right. And I think this also kind of goes along with something I said in the last episode too, is the self-talk that I can do it, that I can make it through this. And that's not something I really acknowledge. And maybe I need to look at that myself, do a little inward introspection and just say, why is that something that I don't necessarily always acknowledge to myself or others, is that I have survived, that I have persevered through so many trials in life. Like, people hear my story and they're just like, oh my gosh, wow. And I'm like, yeah, but my story is my story. Like, I don't have any regrets. I don't have any thoughts that I wish anything would be different. So that's I think my perseverance. That's probably the thing that I admire about myself that I kind of keep on the down low.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. Yeah, yeah, that is definitely something that I think a lot of people, you know, minimize or play down, whether it's from not wanting to relive it, so they don't really want to think about it, so they don't want to look at it as persevering, or that they just don't want to be braggy or showcase it, or that they just don't even give it a thought. I think I have a little of that, although I have shared a lot of my perseverance story. But there is one aspect of my perseverance story that I don't really share with people, and it's probably something that I will start talking about in the near future, because it's going to feed into my next my next level of business that I'm going into that will get shared with you all later, but right now it's still kind of top secret. There's some stuff there. So yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, yeah. So Jen, like, what do you think your life would look like if you fully embraced your worth and lived without self-doubt?
Oh man, it's a whole nother level of what I'm doing right now. Like seriously, I think I'm getting really close to that. I don't know that we ever fully get to that. I think there's always times where we doubt ourselves or wonder if what we're doing is right. But my gosh, if you could take me from 10 years ago to the person that I am today, it's a dramatic difference. And I think that's just it's just really owning. I think I said this earlier or in the other episode, but it's really owning who you are and what gifts you have for the world. Like we all, I don't care who you are, you have a gift and more than one typically to share with this world. And you have so much greatness inside of you. And once you start really owning and stepping into that person and being authentic and truly knowing, it's like this deep knowing. I have a coach that says that to me all the time. It's this deep knowing, and she's not wrong. It's this knowing of who you are and what you do that matters, and you matter. It's not like, I'm going to use this as the example. So I have had a ton of clients that say to me, I'm lazy. And when I start digging into what all they're doing and what all they're going through and where their mind is and what else going on, they're not lazy. They're overwhelmed. They're stuck in a cycle that they cannot break, but they're not lazy. Even if you never get up off the couch, if your brain is running 24/7, you are not lazy. You are just overwhelmed and stuck in your head. And so I spend a lot of time working on that with people because it does change everything when you own the fact and you stop telling yourself that you're lazy and you say, I'm not lazy, I'm stuck, but I'm going to work on getting out of stuck. And these are the steps that I'm taking. And when you say that out loud to yourself, it absolutely changes everything for you. And I would encourage you to try that if you feel that way. If you feel stuck, so I'm going to give you a little example, and then I'll get off this soapbox because it is my soapbox. Um, I had a client once that would tell me, I never clean the house. I can't keep up with the dishes. And I said, great. Can you do the dishes for 5 minutes? Can you just do the dishes that are in the sink right now? Yeah. Okay, just go do those. Don't worry about the rest. Just do those. And then the next day I talked to her and she goes, oh, I did those. And then an hour later, I did the dishes that were in the other side of the sink. Great. And then the next day when I talked to her, she's like, I not only did both sides of the sink this time, but I also did the dishes on the counter an hour later. Fantastic. Because that's what it is. It's not about being lazy or not being able to do it. It's about owning what you can do in this moment and making those small steps. Just making those shifts. And that's how we continue to grow our self-worth and become the person and own the person that we need to be. We do it in very small steps.
Yes, I agree. It's just like eating that elephant one bite at a time, you know? It's like if we just do one small thing, whatever it is, even if it's just telling yourself once a day, "Hey, I got this."
Yes.
And then maybe tomorrow you say, "I got this." And then 2 hours later you say, "I still got this."
Yes.
Right? So it is just doing one little thing. I also encourage people, laziness does seem to be I think that's a societal value that one of those things that really has a negative connotation to it. And so that becomes one of people's negative self-talk is that they're lazy. Instead of, well, sometimes, like you said, I'm overwhelmed, but also maybe I just need a break.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Yeah.
just need 5 minutes. I have people that think that they're lazy when they just sit down for 5 minutes on the couch. And I'm like, that's exhausting to think that you have to be doing something,
Yes.
24 hours a day. I mean, sometimes these people barely even sleep because they can't, and to me, that's trauma. Those are trauma responses. And people don't really think about that until I start talking to them about it. I'm like, if you can't sit and be quiet for even 5 minutes, that's a trauma response.
What are you running from? That's the
Exactly.
question I always ask. What are you running from?
Yeah,
Because you're running from something. And it's
absolutely.
usually a voice in your head that's going to bring something up. Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. I love it. And bringing that in, I know I have a lot to say on this one too, and this is one of my platforms, but how does self-worth and self-love, how do they connect with each other? Like how do you use that with your clients and yourself?
Yeah. Self-worth, self-love, right? I think they're just two sides of the same coin, right? The coin is you. And so if we have self-love, then we can feel like we have worth and value. If we have worth and value, then we feel like we can have self-love. And we have to start with whatever the easiest thing is. What's the thing that you feel like you could believe? Again, we're just starting with small things. So when we say, like, I can do this, just that one time a day, and we say, oh, I can do this, that's showing yourself love. That's showing yourself compassion. That's showing yourself grace. And that then increases your self-worth, in my opinion.
Oh, I would agree 100%. And I would just like to point out that self-love, self-care, however you want to look at that, I use them interchangeably because I think again, they're two sides of the same coin. Um, I'm not talking about going and getting mani-pedis. I'm not talking about all the things that cost big money, having a spa day. Yes, those are great ways to take care of yourself, and I'm not diminishing those. We all need that. But self love, self care, really loving yourself comes from in here. And it's the work you do around it. It's not how polished you get. That word was used with me this morning. And so that word's in my head. How polished you are or how you're feeling. It's how you're feeling. It's not what your exterior looks like and that you went and got your nails done. And I do my nails. Like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's more about the self-love and the care that you give yourself versus anything else. So yes, I love that. And again, it is starting small. And I love the idea of just saying, I got this, I can do this. I am worthy of this. And if that's too big for you, start even smaller and say, I'm capable and leave it general. And then when you're ready, say, I'm capable of doing X and bring it in to a little more narrowed in center. And
Good. Yeah, I love that. And I would say, just to add on to that a little bit, is that as women, society tells us that we have to do everything,
uh,
that our value is determined by our achievements, how much we do to take care of our family, how much we do to keep our house clean. I mean, that lady with the dishes, like, I have I know people in my personal life that won't even let me into their house because it's so dirty. And I'm like, I don't care how dirty you are. Like, I don't care how dirty your house is, right? I mean, I'm here to see you. I'm not here to look at your house. I'm not here to, run my finger along the mantle and see how much dust there is. Like, that's not how I see your value. That's not how I see your worth. I don't see it by how clean your house is. I just see it by, what are your actions? Who are you? Clients will come in, they're like, I didn't even take a shower. I'm like, it's not a fashion show.
right.
Like, we're not here for fashion, like, I look good, but no, I'm just kidding. Um, but it's about, let's just do the work. Let's not worry about how we look. And I think society just gives us so many messages, especially as women, that we have to look good, that we have to do everything all the time to the maximum. And that is definitely one thing I talk to a lot of my women clients about is it's okay to not do all of it.
Yep.
It's okay to just do a part and give yourself the grace and the permission to say, maybe I'll do that later, or maybe I'll just ask someone to help me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I totally agree.
Good. Well, do you feel like we covered enough ways to
I
help our
think
listeners
so.
build worth? Okay,
I think
good.
so, and hopefully you guys do too. But if you do, again, if you have specific questions, let us know. Let us know, reach out. We are happy to help. And this is, this is for you guys. This is, like I said, I think I said this, or maybe I say it next week. Who knows? We've recorded a few. And we might be a little out of order, and that's okay. But this is all for you guys. This is us sharing our love with you guys. Yes, we have fun with it. Yes, we enjoy doing it, and we would do it regardless, but we hope you're getting a lot out of it, and we'd love to hear from you, or just leave your takeaways. Let us know what resonates with you. That just helps us, makes us better coaches and therapists, and just makes us do better. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it helps us shape future episodes, right? We want to know what's important to you, what you take out of this. What do you want to hear more about? What do you want to hear less about? Constructive criticism, we're both solid people. So, you know, give us some feedback about what's important and what really brings value to you.
I agree. 100%.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
on that, we'll just talk to you next time.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you for being here with us today.
If today's episode hit home, don't just keep it to yourself. Subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Because everyone deserves to know their worth.
Next week, we're diving even deeper with more insights and tools to help you break free from limitations and live authentically.
Until then, keep raising your standards, owning your worth, and embracing your value.